Hmm, my dear, loving, and faithful Arians, it is I, your Oracle, Medicine, and I am so thrilled to be able to share the healing and medicine uh, from Spirit for you this week, the week of January 29th to February 4th. And as you can see, I've kind of been told to expand the spread here for this week. And so uh, this will be one interesting ride I have here towards the beginning of the week. So this is starting about Sunday, Monday. We're going to have the King of Cups present, and this is very beautiful. I love this imagery so much. I mean, look at that. I mean, there's a seahorse floating just above a bowl. Look at the imagery here. And you have a sea turtle. You got a couple sea turtles going on there, swimming around there. This is such a beautiful imagery. So, in the very beginning, two things come to mind for some of you, Aries, and for others. One thing that might come to mind for some of you is to manage things using your emotions, using your intuition. So that little soft voice, I don't want to say little, it's not little, but that soft voice inside your heart, inside that speaks to your mind. We can hear this voice better from our right brain than our left brain. But it is that place of intuition. How are you managing things in the beginning of this week? The message across here is to manage things in that emotional way, listening to the divine self, speaking from that place of truth, that little soft voice, that conscience. Those of you who are familiar with Pinocchio and Geppetto and Jiminy Cricket, the conscience. So the King of Cups is asking one to move in a conscious way, in an intuitive way, to manage things in an intuitive way. So this is especially focused on whatever it is that you already have in your life that has already that has already been manifested. It's how to maintain that which is already manifested, how to maintain that which has already now grown into this world. And you're maintaining that with an intuitive. So you're listening to the intuitive. You're listening to your feelings. You're searching your feelings and you're listening to that soft voice inside. And really paying attention to that is going to be very important towards the beginning of the week. Now, for others, this may talk about someone towards the beginning of the week that might be very present in your life. And this is someone who is they are romantic. They are in touch with their emotions. They are in touch with their intuition. Generally speaking, this is a leading person, role or person in one's life. I like to sum this one up to be like the Scorpio. It's a very fixed, someone who has very fixed and very seasoned beliefs around emotion. This could be any one of the three water signs. And I always like to lend to the fact that this could also be someone who has a strong, founded, fixed moon or rising in a water sign as well. So this is someone that's very seasoned, and they're very sensitive, and they're soft, and they're in touch with their emotions, and they're a family guy, or even a woman, but they are very family oriented, perhaps very even if they don't necessarily have a family now, but their ideal situation would be being around loved ones. Okay, so they love their loved ones. They love to be around their loved ones. This is also a person who's very deeply emotional, and they like to go into the depths and talk about those and discuss things with emotion. Even things that are more of a left brain idea, if you will, of the thought and logic, there is always a hint of emotion and intuition involved in everything that this person speaks about. And so for some of you, Arians, there that kind of energy or that kind of person may be very present in your life today. So next we have the Empress in reverse. And the Empress in reverse is bringing about a time where there's blocked energy there to actually grow something. So you're at a stage in your life where it's like you've already kind of you're moving on to the next phase of something going on in your life, and there is a neglect there to really nurture it. It's kind of like, well, I wanted this to happen, and therefore it happened, and literally it's happening. In your mind, it's like, well, it should happen already. It's kind of like that. But the Empress is all about that time in between, right? So this is not, I put a seed in the ground and suddenly there are flowers kind of thing. This is kind of what the card is expressing right now. That one just put a seed in the ground and just assumed the next day that there's going to be flowers. There was no time and patience and tilling and involved and nurturing, gleaning of that ground in order to make it very safe and comfortable for the plant to sprout from the seed. There was none of that going on. So there is perhaps some sort of new stage of life where one is in right now, where they needed to take a step back and manage things and look things through. And the process, it's very important that the Empress notes that process, that time of something growing. It hasn't sprouted yet. And so the Empress is asking you to go back. Think about what it is that you might have neglected, what might not have been sprouted from the ground yet. Maybe there's some idea there, some relationship there, some sort of new stage going on where one has yet to actually work on the nurturing of that new stage, whether it is of life, whether it is of your romance, whether it is of your job, whether it is of your spirituality, whether it is of your thoughts, your belief systems, whether it is any kind of focus, any kind of desires. So this is kind of telling you to take a step back and kind of think about where it is that there's something missing there. There's a tool missing. Think about what it is that you are starting anew now, that you're trying to actually nurture and grow. And she's asking you to take a step back and to really work on the in-between details of trying to grow that which is now kind of this new stage of life for you. Okay, so that's where we're going towards the middle of the week. There was something there that was missing. So what could that be? And then we get the Four of Cups in reverse towards the middle of the week. And the Four of Cups is kind of, in the first place, the Four of Cups is kind of, there's this kind of like disheartening, there's just kind of like this disheartening or boredom, if you will, with the Four of Cups. What they have, that watery power that they have, that emotional power that they have, is kind of like, it's kind of like there's this subtle hopelessness or this subtle you know, something's kind of missing, or I just don't really appreciate what I have kind of thing going on with the Four of Cups. But then in this case with the reverse, you know, this situation is kind of it's taken aback. There is no, I mean, it's like your well is now empty. So the dreams there that are there that perhaps you didn't appreciate enough, they're now empty. So as opposed to them being there, you know, but it's like you're now looking at brighter waters. This is it's empty. So there it's almost like this is turning out to be quite the relationship reading here, because our dream reading, because it's almost like because one did not nurture whatever it is that they were seeking to nurture, perhaps in that kind of emotional way. They now have that which they took in for granted, you know, those dreams, those romantic, the relationships that perhaps they took for granted, now are like run dry and they're not there. They're not present towards the middle of the week because one did not take that time to step back and really nurture the that which was already there. And this was definitely, I'm looking at this now, and it's definitely in a romantic sense. It's definitely in the area of romance, relationships, your dreams, your emotions, so your intuition. So this is really that time towards the middle of the week where it's almost like the Four of Cups is coming out once again to say be thankful and grateful for what you have, and not just be thankful and grateful for it, but appreciate it to the point where you begin to nurture it. Those of you who are watching this, um, those of you who are watching this now, if you're watching this before the week has opened up, you might be able to catch this situation and kind of turn it around, okay, to where you can actually appreciate what you have, and you do. It's definitely a time for putting work into, in appreciation and work into that which is still kind of growing there. Okay, and the King of Cups is kind of suggesting here that, you know, King of Cups is kind of saying, you know, I'm here for you to do that. Use me, you know, kind of use me, to help you to manifest and to grow something in this emotional way. My powers of emotion and intuition are available to you. Please use them. And once again, here we have the Two of Cups. So this is turning out to be quite the relationship reading. The Two of Cups is suggesting that that there's a major attraction going on between yourself and another right now. There's a major attraction there. Perhaps you really feel like this instant connection. Okay? And it's up to you to decide if you want to, connect. You know, this is the person that you might have just met. You might have had a great time with this person, and it seems like now you're kind of having to pick and decide and choose if that person is going to be for you moving forward into your life. Whether you feel like that connection should continue, or if it was just kind of a just in the moment kind of thing. I totally feel like it's up to your intuition if you decide to continue forth with that relationship or not. I feel again that there is something. I'm going to kind of move here we go. All right, that should fix that a little bit better. I feel like I want to decide if I feel like I am deciding. I feel like this person is coming to me. What I was seeing was that kind of like this person was coming to me, okay, in my life. They were coming to me. They were beginning to come to me, whether they were physically there with me or not, whether I actually saw them or not. But this person was going to was coming closer to me. They were making themselves known to me, either on an energetic level or on a physical level, but especially on an energetic level. They were making themselves known um, to me earlier on in the week without me really realizing it, and perhaps because I'm not really getting in touch with my emotions right now, because I'm not really getting in touch with my emotions, and because I'm really doubting myself and really doubting my emotional power and my dreams. I'm really kind of I'm lost without them. It's almost like when I meet this person, when I finally have that instant connection, attraction with this person, what could happen here is that I might not even be emotionally ready, to take this situation on. I'll feel it when it comes, but will I be ready? It's almost like saying, here, watch out, okay, because you have somebody coming your way this week. And you might not be ready for them because you're not caring for your emotions, you're not nurturing them, you're not getting in touch with that emotional side of yourself. And Aries do have an emotional side to themselves. There are fire signs, but there's some sensitivity going on inside Aries that does happen, and especially when you include the combination of your moon and rising sign. It's definitely there's definitely a hint of emotion going on there. So I would say that it's kind of an and are both going on, both and kind of situation going on overall. With the King of Cups is asking you to manage your emotions early on in this week, or manage your relationships, manage your dreams, manage that towards the beginning of the week here. And it's also could be saying for some of you that there is a new strongly person coming on in your life, a leader, if you will, someone who knows how to manage things, but by way of intuition and emotion as opposed to logic and reasoning. This would be by way of intuition and emotion, which is not too far out from Arians when you think about that, because I've always found Arians to be very action-oriented people before they are logical and reasonable. It's very instinctual, and that power is just as powerful, if you will, as logic and reasoning. I've always found Arians to be very instinctual, and in tune with their instincts. They get that gut feeling and they move with that. And so with the King of Cups coming into one's life, it's really asking you to tap into that. And for some of you, it's saying that there's going to be somebody coming into your life, in which you're going to, towards the end of the week, have an emotional connection with this person, and kind of are going to have to make a decision if that's going to work for you or not moving forward. But there is this in-between process. It's very interesting because there's this in-between process right now where you do need to take care of and nurture what you already have, those dreams and hopes and aspirations that you already have for yourself, that romantic side of yourself, that intuitive, loving, compassionate side of yourself. This is really asking you to kind of work on that, so that you can be in touch with your emotions when you actually make this connection, this emotional, spiritual, intuitive connection with this other person here. And the Dragonfae spirits are sending you Pellinor and the Lady. Pellinor and the Lady. Bittersweet farewell. And I'm actually going to read about this because I haven't worked with Pellinor and the Lady before. And plus I love the descriptions that they use in this little booklet. It's just so enchanting, and it's like the spirits, they are really, really, really coming forward and speaking to us. So Pellinor and the Lady, bittersweet farewell. Pellinor and the Lady speak. We are saying farewell, and our hearts are breaking. While we say farewell for now, We do not know what lies before us, only that for a time it is necessary for us to be separated from the one we love with all our being in order to complete our missions. We are sad, but we are also feeling blessed, because together we have experienced a sweetness and joy that few in this world can lay claim to. We long to stay together, and we are struggling to give thanks for the time we have had. For even if it was 1,000 years, that time would still feel too short. We know, too, that our souls have promised to be together again. There is now a time when you must go on alone. You will be reunited. But when that is precisely, will be unclear for a time. Bittersweet is the ache within our hearts, but happy are we who have loved. That's a very powerful message. And I want to tell you a little bit about Pellinor and the lady. These lovers who change shape at will are now separating, for they have tasks to complete that cannot include the other. Some parts of these tasks are in fact karmic. He is a knight and must continue on his journeys, while she is a priestess and must return to her circle. These two beings will be brought together again, but whether it is in this lifetime or being is not clear to either of them right now. They must believe in their love and focus on the tasks before them, because they have a role to play in life that requires a distinctive part of them for now. So say farewell and remember, merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Divinatory meanings say, this is the card of lovers finding it difficult to be separated even for a moment. The card of friends who find that leaving each other's company means a lonesome time. And the card of fellow travelers on life's journey needing to go their separate ways for a time. It is bittersweet. The reason for the separation feels hard is because there is so much love. A note on love and lovers, as it is so longed for, dreamt of, and despaired of too. This card can also signify that two lovers will be reunited. It could also mean that there is a part of your own soul that feels as though it is missing at present, and that the longing you feel for a particular kind of relationship is simply a longing for that part of your soul that is recognized in the mirror of their eyes. It may be time to find that soul self and nurture it by seeing and finding and feeding it with your own self, rather than relying on another to bring it to life. While the beings in this card are so very much in love, so very much a part of each other, and so very meant to be together, for a time they cannot be in the kind of relationship they both long for. They are saying goodbye, and it is a sweet and painful parting that neither wish for. This card always indicates that there is a separation of sorts taking place, and that even so, there is great hope. Working with Pellinor and the lady, know that being together will be tempered with times of necessary separation. Sometimes we meet a charismatic, perfect individual only to seemingly lose them. However, there is nothing lost about this situation. It is perfect, and the sadness of parting will be balanced with the joy of the new encounter with this soul love. They ache with true and deeply romantic love. I love that. I love that. And that so expands and amplifies the situation of this week for you, my lovely dear Aries, that, you know, there's going to be this bittersweetness going on towards the middle of the week. You know, It's so funny because it's kind of like the King of Cups is suggesting that something is very strong, and yet the Two of Cups is also suggesting something very new. While these two are kind of suggesting that separateness in between. But remember that sometimes, you know, we are called to be and go and do elsewhere. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we don't love each other anymore. Even if society tells us that. Society tells us things like that, and it doesn't even mean that. All it means is that this is just a time in between. And who knows when you're going to come back to one another, but Pellinor and the lady, you will come back to one another. Say, relationship reading through and through. It's a very hard time for a lot of relationships. Well, you know, I hope that Pellinor and the lady bring you the medicine that you need. I would love to hear any kind of feedback from you working with Pellinor and the lady. I'd love for you to have your own meditative journeys with them. I'd love for you to call them into your sacred space and work with them and ask them for their guidance and help in this process for you throughout the week. Um, I'd love, I'd love to hear any kind of feedback, anything that you might want to share about Pellinor and the lady and how this might have helped you or not throughout the week. Um, I'm setting up a website here pretty soon, and on that website, I'm going to actually set up a forum, kind of where we can kind of have this circle and share these thoughts, and it'll be a forum for each week, where you can kind of go back and kind of reflect on these things, and kind of share ideas and things that kind of came through for you, because I really am interested in knowing what this was like for each individual person involved. But if you, in the meantime, would like to send me an email about it, if you'd like to leave a comment about it below, please feel free to. And if not, and you feel like this is so deep for you and so bittersweet for you that perhaps you're not ready right now, don't worry about it. You know, I'll see you next reading. It's all good. The point is, at the very, very foundation here, the very base here, hopefully this is helping you in some way, my dear Aries. So that's the message for the week. I hope you have a lovely week. And I look forward to hearing from you. I hope you have a great, blessed week. Spirits be with you. Aho Mitakuyasen.